Ladies and gentlemen, I've got to get my iPad here ready for our video today. And our video today is going to be on understanding of the transit of Rahu and Ketu. That's something you guys wanted. So, okay, well, whatever the public wants, the servant is here to serve, right? So, we're going to discuss Ketu's transit in Leo and Rahu's transit in Aquarius for 2025, 2020, most of 2026. Okay. And I'm actually going to share something unique. And what is that unique thing? Well, that unique thing is I'm going to show exactly a particular age this transit is going to affect. Meaning, if you're a certain age, this is going to be the most prominent transit, and I don't even need to know your ascendant for it. You might think, oh, okay, well, he needs to know the ascendant to tell us our age, and no, I'm going to tell you the age. Okay, so you got to stick around. So as you know, literally, I would say in May, as much as they're transiting in June, you got to understand when Rahu and Ketu are literally at 29 degrees, they have crossed over to the previous sign to themselves. So literally by May, you're looking at the energy of Rahu and Ketu becoming active in these two polar opposite signs, like literally polar opposite signs. I know every sign is polar opposite, but if you look at some of the significant details, they'll be quite similar. Like, as much as you may think that Virgo and Pisces are very different, they're quite similar in terms of their attributes. But Leo and Aquarius are very different. They are like, they are different because they need each other. One cannot exist without the other. And if both of them behave the same way, a country cannot operate. Why? Because Leo is the sign of what? The king. The mighty one. Aquarius is a sign of collective. The people who are in the kingdom. People who are making the king feel like, hey, you're the king. We're the people. So, oh mighty king, do something for us. And so if, let's say, there are similarities in these two signs, that means you've got a very one egotistical country that will not listen to the king, and neither the king will listen to the public, and it'll just be chaos. So this is why you need Aquarius and Leo. This is the only sign you will see that they must behave polar opposite in order for them to gain something. Like, both of the parties have something to gain from each other when they are in their own dharma. When one is in their own dharma, things happen. Instead of saying, well, I'm not this, I am this. I feel like this, and I am this. But dharma is dharma. That's the truth. So, especially if you look at Ketu coming into the sign of Leo. Okay. One thing you will see with Ketu, a lot of young people. It could be teens. It could be people in their 20s, sometimes in 30s. They suddenly feel this natural phobia and fear towards becoming parents. If let's say right now they're thinking about, let's have a child, let's have a family. When Ketu goes into Leo, there's this sudden phobic tendency that becomes active. Like, wait a second, no, we can't do this. How are we going to do this? How are we going to pay for this? How are we going to pay for that? How are we going to do this? And so, and this is exactly the point If you look 18 years ago, when Rahu Ketu came into Leo and Aquarius, literally this was the time, especially in US, when many people lost their homes during the real estate crisis and real estate, downfall. If you have seen the movie Big Short, you'll know. And I know it also impacted pretty much the rest of the world. Because at that particular point, the world was heavily dependent upon US and the US economy, and it still is. Like if the stock market goes down 2,000 points here, it'll have a ripple effect in pretty much the entire world. Okay. But during that time period, many people, especially when they were in their 20s, they kind of like, no, we're not ready to have a kid. Our house property just went down. We just lost our home. We got to rebuild stuff up before we can have the kid. Now, does this mean that you're not going to have children? No, if it's destined to be, it's going to come in. It's just that it's going to come in with your fear intact. And if it's not going to come in, you can be wanting it and it's not. But I'm just saying that overall gravitational force of this world with Ketu in Leo is going to be very similar to 2023. Because in 2023, Ketu was in Libra. And if you notice, 2023 was the lowest birth rate. You thought 2020 was. 2020, 2021 was actually very, very busy for babies. Because you were home stuck, right? 2023 has been lowest. Now think about it. Why does that have to do anything to do with Leo? What would 2023 have anything to do with the sign of Leo? When Ketu was actually transiting the sign of Libra. And if you understand this part, you have mastered Jyotish. You have mastered it. At least you understand the core principle of Jyotish. Because literally, statistically, you can also see everywhere, it's that 2023 was the lowest birth rate. Because Libra is the fruit of Leo. Libra is the fruit of Leo. Why? Because Libra is third from Leo. Third from any sign is the fruit of that sign. So Leo is the ego, right? I got the ego. How can I get my ego to fructify? So my ego builds up. Well, who do you need for ego? You need other people to appreciate you and to treat you like this world-class highness and celebrity. Which is what? Sign of Libra, 7th house, other people. Doesn't represent masses of people, but it represents every single person that you come across. So for example, if let's say I'm an artist and I'm walking on the street and somebody comes up to me, oh my God, I loved your movie. Oh my God, I loved meeting Ketu movie that you did. You were phenomenal in this and I have been your biggest fan since then. Nobody can beat you in acting, blah, blah, blah. What will happen? My ego gets fat. Like, man, I'm something special. God especially took time to make me because I'm like so talented. So it feeds the fruit of your ego is seen through the 7th house, which is also the reason people tend to get married. Because you want somebody else to appreciate you and feed your ego. Although that turns out most of the time to be opposite. But that's the reason why. So now what's happening with Ketu? Ketu is going to the actual source of the ego. And Leo is naturally also representation of children. Your pregnancy. So Ketu blocked pregnancy being in the third from Leo in the third from itself. It says, I don't want to give too many people here. But now what happens is Ketu is not affecting the third. Ketu is going to the source and telling the source. Why? Why do you want to take that responsibility? Why do you want to take that stress of paying the bills and all of that? So what happens is this unnecessary fear comes into play and this caution comes into play. And you will see Ketu is going to be in Leo, right? It's only when Ketu get to the Magha degree at 10 degrees, which will be end of 2026. This is when you will see actually people going towards having more children. Because that portion of the sign of Leo, from 10 to 0 degrees before it moves into Cancer, will allow with Ketu for pregnancy to happen. You will see. This happened 18 years ago, and it's happening again every 18 years. From this point, you will see many people who are important figures in our life, whether it was Tesla, Gandhi, or Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Queen Elizabeth. All these important folks will come through during this time. When Leo is at the last 10 degrees of, or when Ketu is at the last 10 degrees of Leo. And this is on a mundane basis, I'm saying. The other thing, you don't want, because Ketu will do this. Okay. Ketu's going to make you bow in your ego. So if you think you're so flashy, it's funny, man. I mean, I'm telling you guys. I do readings of especially these TikTok influencers. Okay. And they, first of all, they assume that I know them. I don't even have TikTok on my phone, which is even available even right now in US. And when they start their sentences, I'm a TikTok star. I have 4 million followers, and I'm looking to find out how to do this, and this. And let me know, I want you to only do my reading this way. Okay, and let me know the price. You get that, and you can just see, wait a second, you're on TikTok, of all places, and you're assuming already that I know you. Such type of ego, okay, Ketu shatters it. And this is going to be all throughout the sign of Leo. People who show off so much that I am something important. Pay attention to me. Look at me. Look, I'm equal to a Hollywood or Bollywood celebrity. Ketu is going to cut their heads. Because what is cutting head? Like in society in India, we say, this person's going to get their nose cut because they did this. Right? Somebody's daughter falls in love with that boy. Oh my God, our noses are going to be cut. So what happens with Ketu? Ketu's like, oh, you want to show your ego in this year? Oh yeah, let's do it. You're the best, yes. People need to pay attention to you. Yes, you have the most important ideas in the world. My goodness, let's listen to it. And the moment you start speaking, you get humiliated. So if you want to take one thing from this particular video with this Ketu, be as humble as possible and act like you're the servant in front of your servant. Right? Like your servant who comes in home, the housekeeper, the cleaner who comes and cleans your home. You should pretend like you're cleaning for them. The moment you do this, Ketu rewards you. But the moment you show your ego, Ketu is going to destroy you. And this is exactly what happened. Now, if I look back, when I was in real estate, back in mid-2000s, literally, 18 years ago. Okay, so this would have been like 2006. My God, these brokers and loan officers, they were so snooty and snotty. They would get off a phone call with somebody and they would be so sweet and nice on the phone with the person. And the moment they hung up, oh boy, they were like making fun of them, even, just using their ethnical accents and just like, and that's when I was disgusted with this real estate industry. I'm like, what the hell is this? I'm like, this could be my mom on the phone with you trying to refinance her home, which we did. So I'm just wondering what the loan officer did when they hung up the phone. And guess what happens? Right within that year, the entire real estate market went out and most loan officers and brokers lost their jobs. Literally took them probably 3-4 years to get back on the saddle again. This is why. So whether it's your personal life, your professional life, become the person that you're on a phone with. You need to behave like you're the servant if you want to survive this Ketu in Leo. The other thing you will see, when Ketu goes into Leo, many people become very quiet. Like, whichever house Ketu transits in your birth chart, like for example, for a Cancer ascendant, Ketu is going to be in the second house. And especially second house of speech and talk. Let's say, for example, you're a Libra ascendant. Ketu goes into 11th house of social circles. You're a Gemini ascendant. Ketu goes into the 3rd house in Leo of communication. And so, and then also, if let's say you are a Aries ascendant itself, Ketu is in the 5th house of speech. Ah, what the hell? How did Ketu become speech in the 5th house of stomach and children? Well, that's because 5th house, you speak from the diaphragm. Your diaphragm is in the 5th. When you speak, the speech is not just coming from here. The speech really arises from here and then goes up. And especially 5th house is 4th from the 2nd house. It becomes the karma of the speech. So even for Aries ascendant, such people you will see, and most people in Leo, related to the house situation, you become very quiet. Like you go to a party, you're just going to sit still. You're not going to talk too much. You become mute. You observe. You become very intuitive when you meet other people, especially if it's not the ascendant that I mentioned. And if you're any other ascendant, Aquarius, Leo, Virgo, or Aquarius, even Leo or Aries or any other, not even Aries, Pisces. You're going to observe people. So if let's say you are a Taurus ascendant, Ketu is going to be in the 4th house, you're going to start observing people in the home. Like you're going to feel like, I want to see why my mother is the way she is. Why does my brother behave this way every time this happens? And you become quiet about that particular house. Like in the home, you will not talk so much. And if it's affecting your 2nd, 5th, 11th house, 3rd house, you won't speak so much. You won't care to speak. You won't care to talk. Okay? Because if you see the lion, you hear the lion's roar, but lion does not really roar every time. It just sits there still. In a bright sun with flies all over itself, it's just sitting quietly. And I'm talking about the male lion. So a lot of quietness comes into play. At the same time, you will see when Ketu is in Leo, without thinking or giving it a second thought, you'll start sleeping in awkward places. When Ketu goes into Leo, you usually would have your room and you will sleep in it. Now what happens is, if you're falling tired, you'll go on your couch, you'll sleep. You'll go into your spare bedroom and you'll sleep. You'll go into your children's bedroom and you will sleep. Why? Because first of all, Leo is the lion. What do you know about the lion, first of all? What do they do? Almost 18 hours a day. They're sleeping. They're resting. Like how my dogs are resting. They're also sleeping, just resting. And because Ketu is headless, meaning it doesn't have a head, it doesn't see. It feels. So for example, if a lot of people in Leo, you will see, will suddenly just feel that, you know what, I'm tired. I want to go to bed. And what happens, here's an awkward thing that happens with Ketu and Leo especially. Happens with other planets as well. But with Ketu especially, they feel like, I've got this 6,000 square feet home. Why am I always only sleeping on this bed? I'm the king. This is my kingdom. I should be able to sleep on the stairs. So what happens is, such people in Ketu period, a lot of times people begin to just sleep at different rooms, different things, because that lethargicness comes into play. That's why. It's not like you really want to do it. Lethargicness comes in. And you feel that you need to understand things around you more intuitively, which only happens through sleep. This is why you will see a lot of people who are intuitive, like psychics, Mahatmas, yogis. They also, especially psychics, will sleep a lot. Not yogis. I shouldn't use yogis because they have nothing to do with this part. Yogis are actually beyond this part. They've gone across. But psychics, you'll see psychic in their regular life, they sleep a lot. They sleep in a daytime 3-4 times. They have to have their middle of the day sleep. Because it is that sleep that activates the intuitive part and activates visions for them. And Ketu helps them enable this thing. Okay. Ketu also brings in conflicts with father. Okay. It'll bring conflicts with father. Conflicts with authorities. Because what do you know about all authorities? All the authorities are scheming and planning. Okay. Anybody who's a leader, president, vice president, prime minister, CEO, president of a private corporation, they're always scheming. And they're always using their 5 indriyas of Rahu. They're using their senses here. And Ketu goes into the heart. Ketu's headless, goes into the heart in Leo. And here Ketu makes everybody hate authorities. Because they don't think from their heart, they think from their head. You think from your head, you only think profit. You think from the heart, you're thinking love. Which is the domain of Shukra, the heart chakra. This is where, and what happened in 2006? What was that movement? Occupy Wall Street. Okay. Occupy Wall Street took place. Because everybody wanted to rebel against authorities, the people who are only thinking of profits and their books and this bottom line and the stock. And it was that moment Wall Street became smart and they diverted people into different agendas. They diverted people towards race and genders and all of that, so they leave the Wall Street alone. Very smart move. So they were using their indriyas fully. Okay, because if Occupy Wall Street, really that movement took over, yeah, we would have been in a completely different economy. But they were smart. Very smart. So yeah, natural rebel against authorities happen. So especially when you have a father, I don't care if your father's your best friend or not. One will have differences with the father. However, the magnitude of how much issue you will have with the father is going to differ at the position of the sun in your chart. Like, I don't care what your ascendant is. I don't care what sign your sun is in. If sun is in the 7th house and Ketu's in Leo, if you are, let's say, 60 years old right now, and if go back 2 cycles of Ketu, in your 20s and then in your 30s, if father was alive, see what happened in those 18 months. You would have stood up against the father on something. Actually, big time. You would have stood up against the father. If your son is in Aquarius, you would have stood up against the father during that particular time as well. So these are some of the things. And the other thing, with Ketu, right? Ketu cannot think. Ketu doesn't feel the feelings when you see something like, for example, I saw an emotional painting of a mother and a child, and I feel this pain in my heart. Like, oh my God, how? Well, Ketu is not seeing that. Just imagine, Ketu has nothing. Can't speak, can't see, can't hear, can't think, can't smell. It feels something around it. If the painting is in the front, it can't see the painting. But the thing is, it feels the atmosphere around the painting. Because so many people have come in front of the painting, looked at the painting, and their sorrow, that energy of sorrow, the aura of sorrow stayed around the painting. And Ketu comes in and feels this sadness. It feels it. Okay? So, Ketu's about this type of a feeling. So what happens in Leo? Leo is a hot and fiery sign. Okay? It's a very fiery sign. It's the sign. It's not really the sign of anger. That is really the energy of Aries. Leo is the sign of Prakriti, right? To start something, to begin something. This is why children is part of Leo, because it's that light. It's light, Leo. But see, Ketu is sharp. Ketu is hot. Leo is light. I shouldn't say hot, it's light. And you've got heat now with light. When does light becomes heat? Have you noticed that? Sunlight hits you, it's okay, it's warm. It's not really burning you. What happens? If I put a magnifying glass between sunlight and my skin, I'll be crying in 10 seconds. So what Ketu does, it takes that light and it magnifies it with its own urja, its own karkavastha. Ketu's karkavastha is fire. It's a fiery planet like Mars. Okay? So here you will see when a person gets angry at something, majority of the people, when you get angry at something and you roar at something, you will not feel guilty. You won't feel guilty about doing that. Some people feel bad, like, I shouldn't have done that. I should not have, you know, said this to this person. This is really bad. I need to find a way to redeem myself. I need to find redemption. So maybe that person will do something for that person, meets them next time, takes them out for dinner, gives them what they need, But Ketu here, he's like, I got angry, done. Take it or leave it, deal with it, I don't care. Why? Because it's not able to see those emotions. It got angry. That energy was there at that moment. And now the energy shifted, and Ketu person forgets the fact that anger was really devastating for your consciousness and ego. Because Ketu becomes very highly awkwardly truthful. Ketu doesn't have a veil. Ketu doesn't have barriers. It'll just be exactly saying what it feels. So Ketu, when it transits for those 18 months, and whichever house, your Ketu's in, you will see Ketu's going to be angry, become mad, become furious at that house, but then it won't make you feel guilty until Ketu moves from Leo to Cancer, which is the sign connected with fire. It's the sign connected with fire. Okay. At the same time, usually, if Ketu goes into Leo and you search for a home, okay, you will see this. It'll be very hard for you to find a home with an east-facing door. Ketu will either give you a northeast or southwest-facing door. And you'll have to try really hard. Your third try, when you're looking for a property, you'll find an east-facing home. But especially when you're looking for a property, apartment, Ketu in Leo, majority of the people will not be able to find east-facing home, especially if it's good for you. So if you're not finding east-facing home, just know, okay, east is really good for me. So you want to stick to that particular direction. If you're having the hard time, if you easily find it, then Ketu wants you to be there. This is a little bit of that Astrovastu, science that we're discussing here. At the same time, my thing is, why is my thing not moving? One, okay. So with Ketu also going into Leo, let's say Ketu is in the 5th house. You're an Aries ascendant. You will ask something very illogical with your children. Something that just doesn't make sense. Ketu's in the 9th house, right? You're a Sagittarius ascendant. You'll ask something to the father to do something which will be extremely illogical. Like he'll be like, is my son and daughter losing their mind? Like, what's going on? Like, think of the most awkward thing that you could say to the father. Something extremely illogical. I'm just going to give an example. Let's say you are 28-year-old virgin. And you just have a discussion with the father. Dad, can you just buy someone for me for a night so I can just lose my virginity? It's like the most awkward, yet truthful, and yet the most illogical statement that you just made with your father. Father may laugh. Father will, you know, make, you know, kind of console you or be understanding of the situation, but it'll be the most illogical thing you will ask wherever Ketu is sitting in your home or in your birth chart. You know, you may ask for something very illogical with your siblings. Transiting the third house or 11th house. 11th house is more will be like your elder sibling and social circles. But look for the house. If it's in the ascendant, good luck, because you'll be the most illogical person that is going to be there for 18 months. So if you're in strategies, especially in a corporate environment, you're going to feel that. Oh my God, why? My pen's not even working. Is this even charged? It should be charged. Why am I? Because you got to understand, Ketu's illogical. Ketu is thinking from the heart, right? And most people who see other people, you know, in love and like they think that love is going to help them survive. Love is all we need. We don't need money to pay our bills. Love will take care of it. And the other person are like, this person is the most illogical person I have seen. So based on that, you know, you're going to see a lot of people, not even a lot, every single person will become a little bit illogical about the house that Ketu's in. 7th house, you'll look for the most wrong and awkward person during this 18-month transit as an Aquarius ascendant. Because your logic won't be there functioning. Your heart will be there functioning. Now, people say, yes, you need to think with the heart and things will be great. But I'm just saying, the 7th house, like for example, if you're married, you're going to ask for something illogical with your spouse. For example, you and your spouse have good intimacy, but now you want your spouse to wear lingerie and a wig and all this crazy makeup and become like this particular thing or that. And your spouse is like, what the hell is wrong with my husband? Why am I not beautiful enough? Am I not this enough? Even though their thing will be so innocent. But it will happen. You will see this for Aquarius ascendant. They will ask something illogical. Now, for most people, may not be illogical, but the spouse will not be looking at it in the most happiest of way. Now, remember when I said that I'm going to give ages for Leo, specifically whatever your age that I'm going to give you, look at the house that Ketu is in. And you can go to chaosastrology.com to find a report on option 6 or beyond, a PDF report that shows your chart, what your ascendant is, and you can see where Ketu will be transiting in Leo. So whichever house that Ketu is sitting in, that house will become active. I don't care what ascendant you are, but just look at where Ketu is placed. And that house will become ascendant, active for people who are especially going to be 28, 28, and 40. 28 years old and 40 years old. Ketu goes there. Whatever I just told you, that prediction can be made related to that house. There are many more ages which I'm testing because I have like ages for each ascendant or each zodiac sign. And I've been testing and they're working beautifully. So maybe right now is what? January, February, March, April, May or June. I'll probably bring a course on Magha Vedic Astrology Academy related to this age activation. But again, I have to confirm this. I've confirmed half of them. The other half I also have to test. But my God, it works beautifully. The way I'll show you guys this, it's amazing. So especially 28 and 40. This is going to be a very, very activated year for Leo sign. Now, I know I'm supposed to be doing Rahu in Aquarius, but I will do that next week. I can literally go on for another 15 minutes to half an hour, but my throat is really dry. But I can keep going on and on with this Ketu in Leo. But hopefully this is good enough to understand majority of the planning and situations that will happen. Okay? So anyway, we'll see you later. If you're new, subscribe to this channel so you don't miss these type of videos. And again, you can go to Magha Vedic Astrology Academy with all the courses. Wristwatch course, which is the most #1 course in the world right now. Probably, I would say, the amount of people are getting it. And my Cares vlogs, where I have put 2025 readings. 20 to 30 minutes long for each ascendant, and I'm going to be doing February horoscope, which is going to be very interesting. Something very unique with Mars. I'll discuss there. Okay? Bye-bye.